Please welcome Brendan Millane with a speech titled Christmas Heroes. Christmas Heroes, Brendan Millane.
Gee, isn't it busy outside? It's the Christmas season. Decorations are up. The display windows, they're sparkling with lights, but the traffic is horrible. I had a huge amount of trouble just getting in here, but there are bright spots. You know, someone actually complimented me on my driving today. They left a little note on the windscreen. It said, "Parking fine." So that was nice. Toastmaster, we can't have a big feast with lots of effervescence without having a hero to celebrate. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to have a look at a range of heroes in the Christmas legends. And I brought along a list to help me remember them all. The dictionary tells us the meaning of the word hero. It actually starts out from Greek mythology, where heroes were gods virtually of superhuman strength, and they had enormous brave deeds, generally in war. We celebrate, for example, the Australian soldiers' bravery through our Anzac Day feast. But more recently, a hero is broadened to mean any person distinguished by brave or noble deeds or qualities in any field. Even women can be heroes, you know. Not just fighting either. But we still need to have a look at who our Christmas hero might be. Well, perhaps at first glance, the person who's around all the time is Santa. He and his reindeer are everywhere. You know, I've got a soft spot for Rudolph. You know why? Every buck is dear to me. Santa is real, but for the world at large, I think there's a bit of an existence problem for Santa. I know Santa exists and I can prove it. It is said a man goes through 3 stages. He believes in Santa Claus, he doesn't believe in Santa Claus, and stage 3, he is Santa Claus. Look, I'm still at stage 1. But there are other little problems in Santa's kingdom. You know, he's having some industrial relations problems. All his workers have got low self-esteem. They've adopted politically correct language. He has to refer to them no longer as elves. They are just normal people like you and I, just a little vertically challenged. Now the other problem, especially for adults with Santa, is he really epitomises the soft life. Look at that belly, look at the chubby cheeks. You can't imagine in a spot of bother Santa would be around to really do the heroic thing. He'd be off in his sleigh elsewhere. So apart from his existence problem, I think we need to look a bit further than Santa. The shepherds, they're also in the story. They didn't do too much that was heroic. Well, maybe if you think about sleeping outdoors out rough in the snowfields with your sheep, which apparently is the legend, well, you could see them either as foolish or as heroic, even before they stumble into the Christmas story. Then there's the wise men. Well, we've got a bit of an identity problem here. Were they astrologers or were they kings? There's different sort of stories about that. They might have a bit of a credibility problem, at least with some women. I overheard this feminist talking to a friend about the credibility of the Christmas story. I can just about handle the virgin birth bit, but I ask you, 3 wise men? Well, at any rate, the wise men or kings, they were a bit brave because they actually sloped off after visiting the Nativity and didn't report back to King Herod, who charged them with snitching back to him so he could have a go. But the other thing is they are really there to provide some homage, because that's what they do, they offer gifts to the newborn babe. And of course the newborn babe by that is the greater hero. Now Christian people celebrate the birth of Jesus as a moment of great religious significance. But for everyone, I think really the power of Christmas does focus on the newborn baby. Every other day of the year, we treat our kids with mixed feelings. They're mixed blessings, aren't they? Most days, of course, we want to make our kids loved and encouraged. Well, encouraging with a pat on the back, although some people say, as long as the pat's loud, hard enough and low enough. But this one day, we take our kids for granted, warts and all, but this one day celebrates the actual arrival of kids. The magic of the newborn babe is universal, and the idea of birth captures the idea of renewal and of rebirth within ourselves, of course, but also highlights an idea that something really new or something different, a different person in our lives outside of us can come along, which will help in our improvement. So in closing, yes, celebrate any recent births in your family. Enjoy your Christmas dinner. Life's meant to be enjoyed. Think of all those women who passed up their sweet on the Titanic. Enjoy the effervescence. Don't begrudge the tidying effort for the Christmas guests. I hate housework, you know. You vacuum the floor, you make the beds, you do the dishes, and 6 months later you've got to start all over again. I love making Christmas wishes. My wife asked me what I wanted for Christmas. I told her, I don't want anything too ostentatious, no matter what it costs. So I hope your Christmas wishes do come true, particularly for the young children in your family. They will be the heroes for the future. So I'll close with a little ditty I found was very appropriate for Toastmasters. I love a Finnish speaker. I really, really do. I don't mean one who's polished, I just mean one who's through. Have a happy Christmas.
First of all, I want to thank Brendan for coming to our club as a guest and completing his goals of this chapter, Project 4, of Humorously Speaking. I personally find Humorously Speaking, the entire series of that subject, to be incredibly challenging. Incredibly challenging. And knowing that I was going to evaluate Brendan, I actually looked through my Toastmaster magazines, and they had something on humorous speaking. And the idea behind the topic of many of the articles was, if you know how to laugh, you know how to tell a joke. Sadly enough, this is a 2007 Euro Toastmasters. Can you believe I've been in Toastmasters this long and it's still so uncomfortable and not so hard for me to give a speech. But we each have our learning curves. So I read through this before, knowing that Brendan was coming. And I learned a few things. And I learned a few things, and I saw many of the things the article was telling me about that you showed admirably well. Humor is a thing that can be quite incisive, but most entertaining. Do you not agree with me that some of the things we've learned, the easiest, are the things that are the funniest, we don't even realize we're learning? And what a wonderful talk you gave for us today, all about the heroes of Christmas, and some of these were wonderful, wonderful stories. I loved Santa Claus. It was so true, because the thing about jokes, the second big thing, it's not only entertaining, it's inclusive, and it pokes fun at our universal foibles. And isn't it true? We all love Santa Claus, and we start disbelieving in Santa. And then we're all Santa Claus. I've been wrapping 16 presents alone today for oncoming things. Very true. Very true to our universal humanness. I still haven't lost point number one, though. I still believe in Santa Claus. Another thing I want to point out that was very well from Brenda's speech was his style. He was very confident here at the podium. He was very relaxed. I could tell that there were things points you wanted to make, and you were referring to a script, but you were able to make eye contact, talk to each and every one of us, and you were very confident. And you had to be confident, Brendan, because there were times that I could see you kind of needed Teflon skin, because some of your jokes went on the feminist side, and being that half this room were women, there had to be a confident Teflon-style manner to your speaking. Some of these jokes really, Adrian was speaking about samskara and something that didn't understand. There was something about woman passing up the suite in the Titanic, which passed me by. I didn't get it. However, I do love the fact that you were very entertaining. I love the fact that you brought it home to something wonderful story about the children being the future heroes. I enjoyed your confident style. The only other recommendation I would make was I noticed your introduction was a little longer than it needed. You could have gone straight into Santa. We were right there with you. Beginning speaking about heroes. And again, the feminist joke, no heroes in the past. No, 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 no. There was an Isis, I think, and a Guan Yin, I think, and there have been heroes in the past who were women. Also, the closing. I've noticed there were a couple of closings. You even said in closing twice. And I think there was more to say than you wanted, but I would pay attention to just being more effective and clean in your closing. But all in all, congratulations. A speech that was entertaining, inclusive, a wonderful style, and I congratulate you again in completing this project, Mr. Toastmaster.